Oh yay, it loaded me in. That's nice. Hey there, Postal here. So, what are we in? We are in the Tu-1. Don't know why my recording software is being wonky, but maybe it's just one of those days. Let's go ahead and let's get this friggin' command center, shall we? So what is this plane? This is a Tier 7 Soviet premium heavy fighter. A Soviet heavy fighter, you say? That doesn't seem right. There are no Soviet heavy fighters in this game. Well, there are, and this is it. What is this plane, though? Well, it's basically some Yak-9U cannons put onto a bomber for all intents and purposes. You've got two ridiculous 45mm cannons on the front of this plane that do incredible damage at a snipey distance. And that's, I mean, the airframe's not that good. You don't have great speed. You don't have great maneuverability. You don't have good altitude performance, for that matter. You got a decent amount of boost. What makes this plane so friggin' fun, though, is these cannons. Getting these 45mm cannons to connect like that just makes for ridiculousness. Now, I wish I had more time to get my cannons on target for that guy. We didn't even ram him. I thought we were going to be ramming him. But we actually got the shots off before he was able to ram us. So what we're trying to do is basically keep the enemies at very long distance. If we're able to do that, we can definitely have some success. Let's go ahead and get rid of this guy if we can. There's a lot of planes here. I don't necessarily like being in this situation where there's a million planes, especially when I miss all my shots. It looks like we've got the sector anyway. Come on. So the cannons can be frustrating when you're missing your shots, because then obviously you're not doing any damage. But it's one of those planes that, like, the more you play it, the more you get used to the trajectory of the cannons. And it becomes quite a bit easier, right? Let's go ahead and let's capture the command center if we can. Get some altitude here. That guy said something. What did he say? Thing you don't see me. Oh yeah. All right, cool. Come on. There we go. There's a multi-roll inbound, but we need to get rid of these guys first. Now, you don't have any bombs or rockets on this plane. It is strictly air-to-air damage, which is fine when you do things like that, but it can be frustrating if you miss all your air-to-air shots, right? So the cannons can be okay versus the ground, but it's not necessarily recommended. Let's try to watch out for this. Boop. Come on. Come on. Oh, Sneaky Pete. Or Sneaky Sherlock, as it were. Let's try to get some altitude. The good thing about this plane, because the guns have such long range, you don't necessarily need the best altitude to still have an impact on bombers. I need to stop paying attention to my map a little bit. Ah, shoot. I was looking at my map, unfortunately, which is a recipe for a lot of missed shots when you're in this plane. There we go. going near their spawn point, which I don't really want to do. Again, you don't have maneuverability in this plane. And again, I guess you don't need maneuverability when you get the shots to hit like that. And the great thing of this plane is it is a premium plane, so you can put any frickin' pilot in here that you want. I actually have my I-215 pilot, which we'll go into more detail in just a second, with Marksman 2, which allows for stupid shots like that, where you just kind of one and done some people. There's a Spitfire on my butt, so he's going to kill me, unfortunately, because I did not see him at all. But hopefully we can get this sector captured, maybe. Yes, we can. See if I can try to wiggle and stay alive. Boosting a little bit, but he's definitely catching up to me. But I've got a friendly. And we give him the old good job there. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. Get our cannons on target here. This guy is going to be more of a priority. No offense to the rear gunners of the bombers. Let my cannons cool down here. Ah, I knew that second shot was going to miss. I tried to let off the cannon fire. Come on. Come on. There we go. There's another multi-roll over here. Let's get our boost back on. I'm afraid we're going to lose this game. It's not like not for trying here. Unfortunately, they're up so many sectors. My team does not want to capture sectors, it would seem. Such is this game sometimes. There we go. Let's see what we can do. Just keep knocking out their planes that are attacking sectors and winning, right? Try to get rid of their GAs and their... There we go. Capture sectors, guys. Come on. This guy's defending the hell out. He's in a multi-roll defending the hell out of a sector. What we need to do is flip sectors, dudes. Flip sectors.
Way to go. Victory is close.
Unfortunately, I can't get this sector on my own. It's kind of a funky decision to come on over here, but it is what it is. I'm already here. I might be dead. I'm definitely dead, actually. Try to get out of here. Flak's gonna kill me if nothing else does. Get some health back, maybe. Come on. Come on, get some HP back. Get there, please, and thank you. Please and thank you. There we go. So as good as this plane is, it's still only one plane. There we go. There we go. Freaking ace is not enough. Can we get... I need to move along here from this sector. Let's get over here. Use my boost. I just have to trust my team to be able to capture this sector. Come on, team. We're actually up on points barely. But ain't nobody got time for that. They're down to 3 planes. Golly. Freaking... Jeez. I know, somebody's texting me telling me I'm screwing this all up. I don't think that's actually happening, but who knows.
We are losing the initiative.
We've lost, unfortunately. It really stinks considering what we were able to do. But it is with this. It is what it is in this game. Sometimes I don't know what the rest of our team was doing, but you can't focus on the rest of the team. Sometimes you've just gotta handle your own business. Let's head on back. Unfortunately, a defeat there, but that was on me, right? We should have been capturing sectors a little bit more. The enemy team certainly was capturing sectors. Even the other friendly that we had on our team in the F4EU, I mean, he captured 3 sectors as well. So, I captured 3 sectors, I believe. Yeah, but still, we did get distracted a little bit there. Hanging out at the center. There's just a lot of targets to kill. But we should have been focusing on getting another capture there, and I think we could have won that one pretty easily. But still going to post this game. What I like about this game is it does show you what this plane can do. I didn't die, but you could have seen where I could have died. Because this plane isn't overly maneuverable, isn't overly speedy, you can get caught out pretty easily. So you need to be paying attention to where you're at. You need to be paying attention to the map. And I highly recommend having a pilot that you trust is going to be able to get those sniper shots. Now, like any of the Derp cannon type planes in this game, the more you play them, the more you get used to the trajectory of the shells, the reload time, things of that nature. So I've played this plane quite a bit. I'm used to how the cannons work. And so anybody that's going to be getting this plane might initially play it and be like, what the flip-a-dip is going on here? The cannons are never hitting. Keep in mind, you got to play it more. If you like something like the higher tier Soviet multi-rolls, so like the Su-9, I-260, I-211, I-215, if you like stuff like that, you'll almost certainly like this plane quite a bit. I'd say if you like the Yak-9U, it does technically have the same cannons of the Yak-9U, but the Yak-9U obviously is a million times more maneuverable. But it is very similar cannon type in that regard. Not fast firing, but super heavy hitting and super long range. Let's take a quick look at the guns themselves. This is what makes this plane. So 3,400 foot effective firing range is basically 1,000 meters for you in Europe. Well, I guess everywhere but the UK. Basically 1,000 meters on the range. 120 damage per second isn't overly crazy, right? But you're able to do those shots from very far away. More often than not, they don't even realize you're there until you've hit them twice. And a lot of the light fighters that you're going to go against, you hit them once and they're dead. And so keep that in mind, especially if they're at half health. If you get 2 shots on them, they're definitely dead. You saw that I was able to take out some of the ground attackers in 3 or 4 shots. And ground attackers and bombers are easy pickings for this plane because it does that significant damage from so far away. You're able to do a lot of damage before their rear gunners can even touch you. You also have 2 23mm cannons. They're mid-range, mid-damage. They actually technically do more damage than the 45mm cannons, which is pretty funny in my opinion, but not significantly more. But these are going to be really good just for the mid-range engagement. Keep in mind you don't have any machine guns on this plane, so both your cannons set up can overheat, and may happen in those situations. So you need to be able to practice your ability of fire control. Sometimes you need to not be firing to allow your cannons to cool off, because once they fully overheat, they take a long time to cool down. So don't ever let your cannons fully overheat. You got some mediocre rear turrets here, both on the top and the bottom. They do okay damage. I find that they do better when you've got a gunner that actually helps that situation. And we'll take a quick look at the pilot and the gunner right now, and then we'll look at my service setup. So as far as my pilot is concerned, remember this is a premium plane, so I've just thrown in my I-215 pilot. It's a 5-point pilot. This isn't a very good pilot, right? But he's got marksman too, because it's an I-215. If you've ever played that plane, you want to make sure those cannons hit all the time too. But you can put in any Soviet pilot, and it doesn't matter. I would recommend having one of your pilots, if you're going to put a pilot in here, from whatever plane, have it have marksman too, just so you're able to get those sniper shots from as far away as possible. Next up, I will almost certainly be putting some like engine guru type items. Using things like aerodynamics expert or aerobatics expert is really not going to be helpful for this particular plane. One thing that might end up being a good option is going to be the cruise flight. So that increases your view range and your top speed. Basically, when you're going between sectors, it happens when you haven't received damage in 20 seconds. So obviously, it's when no enemies are around. So cruise flight might be very helpful for this particular plane because being able to see them before they can see you is imperative when you've got a plane that does this kind of damage from this kind of distance. As far as the rear gunner is concerned, I always highly recommend going for defensive fire first, even though it's a 3-point skill instead of a 1 or a 2-point skill. And the reason being is because it reduces damage from enemy aircraft which the gunner is firing at. So that means if your rear gunner is firing, there's somebody behind you. If somebody's behind you, they're probably shooting at you. If they're probably shooting at you, you want them to be doing less damage to you. And this skill has it so that they do 30% less damage. I've gone ahead and put aiming time reduction as my 5th point for quick reflexes. Again, just so I can get that rear gunner on target more quickly. Beyond that, I mean, it's up to you what you use for your rear gunner. I'm using an I-215 pilot and my Su-10 rear gunner. So that's the perk of premium planes in World of Warplanes is they don't even have to be that type of pilot or gunner. Any pilot from this nation, any gunner from this nation can go in this plane no matter what kind of plane type they fly. You'll actually be getting a 7-point pilot for the Tu-1, so you'll actually be able to have more pilot points and gunner points than I've got here, but this is just the basis for that. As far as the service is concerned, I actually have an equipment item that you won't be getting if you decide to purchase the Tu-1 bundle, that you won't be getting, and that's the advanced Tu-1 radar. This particular item came with the plane when they had missions when the plane first came out, and you were able to grind those missions and get the plane for free, which I did. This radar came with that mission. And so this kind of goes into what I was talking about when it came to cruise flight. The radar reduces your increases your concealment, reduces basically the enemy's ability to see you, and increases your ability to detect the enemy. And this particular one's got some bonus characteristics of helping the accuracy and improving the concealment even more. So cruise flight mixed with the radio equipment here, radar, makes it so this plane isn't necessarily seen very quickly and allows you to see the enemy more quickly, so maybe you can snipe them a couple times before they even know what the hell's going on. That being said, if you don't want to put radar on here, you can't put radar on here. My apologies. Tier 7, you don't have access to radar. So you're going to want to put a sight on here. Get your firing accuracy boosted as much as possible. So I don't even know why I talked about the radar because you don't even have the option to do it. My bad. Excuse me. As far as forward firing weapon is concerned, your plane is really going to be based on your gun's abilities to hit. So I've used the long gun barrels on here, which has actually increased the firing range of the cannons. So I think instead of 3,400 feet, my optimal distance is now 3,700 feet. So what are we talking, 1,100 or almost 1,200 meters? So I can really be sniping from long distance because of the long gun barrels here. I've gone ahead and put the advanced engine boost mixture, the injection system, because you've got a pretty darn good amount of boost on this plane, and so I want that boost to be as impactful as possible. Even with the minus 12% boost availability on here, my boost time is 40 seconds. That's pretty darn good in my opinion, especially for tier 7. And so I want that boost to have the biggest amount of impact as possible. I've also gone ahead and put on my turret an advanced turret gun sight. So this helps the firing range when controlled manually. So I do hop in my defensive turret quite a bit when I know somebody's behind me. Combination of getting the extra range because I'm controlling it manually and making sure that I'm on the target that I want to be on with that 30% reduction to damage because of my rear gunner, just, helps in that situation. So if I highly recommend any plane that you have where you've got a rear gunner, getting used to that kind of process, getting used to that tactic, being on having the ability to manually attack what's behind you can have a significantly positive impact. Obviously, you also have the ability. There is a gun laying drive that helps it in automatic mode. So if you're not the type of person that wants to pay attention to your rear gunner at all, you'd want to use the gun laying drive. That just helps the aiming speed in automatic mode, but keep in mind it will reduce your maneuverability even more. Last but not least, there's a turret armor protection. Helps the gunner's resistance to injuries, but it impacts the aircraft's speed. And for me, I'd rather utilize my manual rear gunner to keep my gunner alive and keep my plane alive a little bit more rather than utilize the turret armor protection. But I could understand why somebody would want to, if they're not multitasking in that way, just keeping their rear gunner alive longer. But again, that impacts the airspeed, which in my opinion, you want that even more than you want your maneuverability. So my recommendation would be turret gun sight first, gun laying drive second, armor protection third. That would be the order of suggestion for the turret equipment. Your results may vary. As far as consumables are concerned, this is one of those planes that, because it's got a rear gunner, I feel that you need the first aid package. That way, if your rear gunner gets knocked out, or if your pilot gets knocked out, you can put him back in. If your pilot gets knocked out, these 45mm cannons just are not hitting anything. So, yeah, and I don't really catch on fire very often. So putting the fire extinguisher on here doesn't make any sense to me. But if you have fireworks, you can always put some fireworks on there. There's no harm in that, maybe. Anyway, airframe. I've got pneumatic control assist simply to get my guns on target a little bit quicker. You may have noticed when that P-38 was coming head on at me, I actually put the pneumatic control assist on, I think. So that way I could turn as quickly as possible and get those 2 shots in, which actually killed him before he rammed me. And so that's the only time I really use it. I never use it to try to dogfight with somebody. That's ridiculous in this plane. Don't do that. I simply use it to try to get my guns on target as quickly as possible in a situation that I know I can't avoid. P-38, his best bet would have been to not go head on versus me, to not crash. He's got incredible maneuverability compared to me, better airspeed, I believe, too. So all he would really have to do is avoid getting shot, and then I'm screwed. He would have gotten behind me, he would have killed me, the game would have been over for me, or at least that interaction. And so that's why it's so important to get your guns on target with this plane sometimes. Engine cooling, definitely a necessity on this plane in my opinion. You just want to keep as much boost as possible. If you're playing the plane where you're keeping everybody as far away from you as possible, you don't really have your engines get knocked out. I can't say that, you can't avoid everybody all the time. Your engines will get knocked out from time to time, but I find it more effective for my gameplay to have engine cooling on here and be always paying attention to the map and always be shooting things while they're 4,500 feet away, rather than to the point where they're able to engage you and you're getting your engines knocked out. That's my playstyle. Your playstyle might be different. I've put universal ammunition on here for both the turret and for the forward firing armament. I can do that right now because I do have some premium days left still. And so, the 12,000 credits that it costs to resupply this isn't the end of the world for me. I can't believe I just put the freaking fireworks on here. No, that was a joke. And as we can see here in my last game, service was 24,000 credits. The overall credit earned was 186. That was 187. That was with the premium account. Without a premium account, it would have been 124. So basically, I would have made 100,000 credits with this plane. It's not going to be tier 8 level. The premium earn is not that level. If you're looking for the highest level earn, even on a mediocre game at tier 8, you're going to earn more credits than a great game at tier 7, just because of the way that the premium credit earn scales. So do keep that in mind. If you're looking for a credit earning plane, Tier 7 typically isn't the way to go. If you're just looking for an honestly really good plane that's a hell of a lot of fun to play, if you like this playstyle, you cannot go wrong in the Tu-1. You just absolutely cannot go wrong in the Tu-1. It's not an overpowered plane simply because if an enemy is paying attention to you, you can be countered. What makes this plane feel like it's overpowered is so many pilots in this game do not pay attention to the map and do not pay attention to where you are. That's true of people going against Tu-1s. It's true of people in bombers. That's true of people in super fast fighters. If a lot of planes might be considered overpowered, but if you're simply paying attention to them and not allowing them to be in their comfort zone, suddenly they lose that overpoweredness. And so the Tu-1 can be countered simply by paying attention to it. But if you're not paying attention to it, and if you let the Tu-1 coast around and do what it wants to do, you're just asking for a hell of a lot of issues. So keep in mind, this was a loss. This wasn't even a win. And we still had a pretty darn good impact and still made a heck of a lot of credits there. It would have been, 160,000 credits, basically, with the premium time. So I'll take it for sure. Anyway, this is a little bit more in-depth because I invariably always get questions in Discord. Hey, is the Tu-1 any good? I've posted quite a few videos on this plane, although I think it's been a while. There's even a Friday Night Flights with VBAT. If I can try to find that, I'll link it in the description or put it in a card. Where we had a really good game, come from behind game where we were both in Tu-1s. Heck of a lot of fun in that one. But Tu-1, honestly, I do recommend it. It's an excellent plane. It's a lot of fun. Don't expect to win every battle that you get into. It's typically better in a flight type situation, but also keep in mind that it's got to be your playstyle. If you're not down with the derps, you're not going to enjoy this plane. So don't be wasting money on a plane that you're not going to enjoy. That's the more you know advice today. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me. I hope this helps. If you've got any additional questions, throw them down in the comments below. Either myself or the rest of the community will answer those questions, or you can hop in my Discord. Again, got a lot of people there that'll be able to help out, including myself. Otherwise, I hope you have a great day. Bye.